What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives Behind the Camera, and today we have a little bit of an exciting video for you guys because I am standing in front of the 2022 Audi SQ5, and this has some pretty cool options with it, such as the black optic package. It's a premium plus, and it also has the S Sport package, so pretty cool. Sort of enthusiast spec SQ5, and not to mention it has a beautiful bright red interior. So throughout this video, we're going to take a walk around the outside, take a look at all the features that has to offer. We'll then pop the hood and see what we're working with under there. Then we'll get into the interior, starting with the cargo area, moving forward to the rear seats, and finally moving forward to what the front seats have to offer. But make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to strap this GoPro on my head and we're going to get a nice first-person point of view test drive with this vehicle. Before we get going here on the features, I'd like to extend a huge thanks to Valenti Audi of Watertown, Connecticut for giving me this car to show you guys the features on. But to start off, we'll start here with the headlamps. Full LED units, of course, even on the base trim. LED high and low beams, turn signals, daytime running lights, you name it, it's all LED. Now, this car also has the black optics package, which you can see adds lots of gloss black elements, and it even blacks out the Audi emblem on the grille. So we have parking sensors throughout, and then we also have these larger sensors for the adaptive cruise control and front assist. As you can see, right below the rings, we have a front-facing camera for the 360 view, and even the little SQ5 logo is blacked out, so that's pretty cool. Very nice body lines throughout this vehicle, and more prominent on the hood towards the center there. And part of the black optic package gives you these very nice wheels, sort of a bi-colored wheels too, really good looking, and they are 20-inch wheels wrapped around 255/45 tires, pretty large brake rotors and calipers as well. More black optic elements with the mirror covers and the surrounds, as well as the roof rails, and you can see the panoramic sunroof up top. Moving around to those mirrors, you can see there is a blind spot indicator, and you also have cameras at the bottom of the mirrors, again for the 360 view. Smart key entry on all 4 door handles. Press this little pad here to lock. Put your hand behind the handle to unlock, and again, that is for all of the door handles. Now this SQ5 is of course the sort of normal configuration. You can also get an SQ5 or a Q5 in that matter as a sportback, so it has a little bit more of a sloping sort of coupe roofline. You can see you have a pretty nice spoiler up top with the shark fin antenna, and same treatment back here with the lights, so they're full LED with the dynamic turn signals, so the tail lights, pretty much everything back here is LED. And then below the tail lights, we have a nice blacked out SQ5 badge and your gloss black running the span of the tailgate. Underneath the little lip, you have the trunk release and reversing camera. You also have parking sensors back here and rear fog lights. Now, the only thing I have to gripe about this car is if you take a look at the exhaust tips, they are fake. The real ones are up underneath the bumper. But that's the only thing you have to complain about this car. I think it's got quite a lot of things going for it. And I think this actually looks very good in the silver color with the black optics package. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So popping the hood in the SQ5 kind of reveals the main difference between the Q5 and the SQ5, and that is the larger, more powerful engine. We're working with a 3-liter turbocharged V6, produces 349 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, so it's quite the powerhouse, this SQ5 here, and it's very nice and tidy underneath the engine bay. You have battery hookups up there, and you also have various reservoirs up here like the coolant overflow and things like that. The hood latch is also right in the center above the Audi rings, And of course, all SQ5s and Q5s for that fact will come with the Quattro all-wheel drive, and this will come with an 8-speed torque converter transmission. Alrighty, so the full range of Q5s and SQ5s will come with a powered liftgate, which is very nice. It's sort of a clamshell style liftgate, so you have lots of room to load all your goods in. And once you get in here, you have a pretty good amount of space. It's definitely a very tall loading space. You have the cargo cover, which you could pull back and extend, and this car also has the S Sport package, so we have adaptive air suspension, and in case you have something heavy you're loading in, you can just press the down button and the air suspension will kind of load down so you don't have to lift your heavy objects so high. We have LED lighting back here, various straps and extensions. You can see you have the all-weather mats back here, and also for the cargo mats. Also, crossbars come with this vehicle, and if you lift up the cargo floor, there is an actual spare tire. We have grocery bag hangers, and we also have handles right here to fold the rear seats down in case you need more storage. So that's pretty cool. More lighting up here, and we also have a couple of buttons, one to lock the vehicle and close the deck lid, and one to just close. Alrighty, at this point in the video, we could take a look at the window sticker really quick before we get into the interior, because this does have quite a few packages. Of course, this is the Premium Plus trim level. We then have the S Sport package, which has the adaptive air suspension and sports rear differential, which is really cool. I have the navigation package, the dynamic steering, which is really awesome, and I'll showcase that in the test drive. We also have the fine Napa leather seats, black optic package, and various other things like blackout emblems, cargo covers, and things like that. We have the parts content over here, fuel economy, and our crash ratings, which, as you can see, hasn't really been rated yet. At this point, we could start off the interior with the rear seats. Take a look at that red leather. That looks awesome. Carbon fiber trim back here on the rear doors and some accent red stitching. You have soft touch materials up here and all the way down here, and then sort of a leatherette and Alcantara covering for the armrest. This car surprisingly was not equipped with the 19 speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, but you do still have a 10 speaker sort of Audi branded sound system, so that's good. Very beautiful quilted leather with the optional Napa leather seats. We have some contrast stitching and just a very soft leather for these seats. Now you can fold them down up front with this little handle here, so you just press that and it'll kind of just fold down flat and it'll click into place. You can also fold down the center pass-through with this button right here, so that'll kind of fold down your ski hatch. And one more thing you could fold down is the center armrest, so that'll fold down and you have some pop-out cup holders as well. Still getting used to this cold weather here in New England. I haven't built up my tolerance yet. However, sitting behind myself, I'm about 5'10", so I have a couple of inches of legroom, so that's pretty good. A few things back here, such as your own individual temperatures, and to get heated seats in the rear, you now have to step up to the Prestige model, so that's a little bit of a downside, but that's all right. We have charging ports right back here and a 12-volt power outlet. And there seems to be just enough room back here to fit a third passenger comfortably, so that's good. We have grab handles and LED touch lights. And the panoramic moonroof, sunroof continues very nicely back here with a full black headliner. Alrighty, so now we could carry on to front seats. Of course, very solid sounding doors when you close them. And very much the same design on the front doors, so same materials. We have the carbon fiber trim, and we also get two-person memory seats for up front. We have power folding and heated mirrors, and we also have individual child locks for the rear doors, so that's pretty cool. And a little trunk release down there. We have some pretty nice side sills with the little S badge. A couple of things down here I'd like to point out. The hood release over here, nice aluminum pedals and a little storage pocket. We have the lighting controls, so the rear fog lights and sort of front all-weather lights, and you also have a gauge dimmer. And we also get a powered steering column, so that's pretty cool. You definitely see the nice carbon fiber on the dash in the sun. And the front seats, take a look at these babies. Wow. Very beautiful attention to detail on the seats, so the headrests go up and down, in and out, so that's pretty cool. And they are, of course, fully powered with the four-way lumbar. At this point, we can finally get out of the cold and check out the rest of the interior. So here's the key for the SQ5, very typical Audi key. You have the lock, unlock, trunk release, panic alarm. And then you also have these two buttons you could pinch to either side, and that'll slide out a physical key in case you need that. And then you also have the S logo at the back, so that's pretty awesome. Nice little spot right here they give you to put your key, and of course you have push button start. You get a nice sound of the rumbly V6 when you start the vehicle up, so that's pretty cool. We can start off here with the steering wheel. So it's fully leather wrapped. We have some contrast stitching on the inside and sort of this dimpled leather kind of at your grips right here. Very nice design with the little S logo. Over here we have all controls for the digital cockpit, and over here we have sort of media controls, your Bluetooth telephone, voice commands. The volume is on this little slider, and the skipping for the tracks, and the all-important heated steering wheel button when it's 34 degrees or 37 degrees out here. Paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel, of course. And taking a look on the back, we have the stalks here for your high beams, turn signals, and you can also turn off the lane assist with this N button right here. And then we have our front and rear wipers. So I'll give you guys a quick outline of the virtual cockpit. It's a little bit different in the SQ5 as far as the gauge setups, but the general gist is just about the same as in any Audi with this virtual cockpit. So again, we're going to be using these buttons here to configure the screen. So I'll give you a good look at that, and then we'll start configuring. So this is kind of your main screen right here. You could press the view button at any time, and you get this cool hockey stick style rev counter, which is really cool looking. I really dig that. I really adore that. But you can go back and forth at any point and get your media, you know, what's going on with your audio and navigation, or you can scroll down and get various functions like your driver's assistance and memory, or trip A, trip B's, real time and average consumption, and sort of a date and time. You can scroll over to the radio screen and the phone screen and the nav screen. And as you can see, at the moment it is set up with the Google Maps, so you can actually zoom in and see the satellite view, so that's really cool. And at any time, again, you can just press the view button, and your sort of more important things will stay larger, and sort of the map or whatever you have over here will get a little bit smaller. So that is pretty cool. Just a general gist of the virtual cockpit, and we're going to do the same quick overview of the MMI screen. So here it is. We'll kind of go to the home screen right here. So this will kind of give you a jumbulation of all the vehicle's different apps, I guess you could say. Then you could scroll over to sort of more of an information screen, so you get what's going on with the radio, what's going on with your phone, and the navigation all in one screen right there. So I like to give you that option. You can swipe from the top and get your garage door openers, also your sound settings. As you can see, they give you a pretty good amount of customization for the base audio system, and they'll give you even more with the Bang & Olufsen system. And we have the radio screen. We have our sources up top and presets. We have media, phone, and our navigation. So this car, of course, has the built-in nav, and then you can also input destinations with that button over there or with the voice commands. We have phone apps, which when you have your phone connected to the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, that's the button you'll click to activate it. And we also have some vehicle settings here. So we have the drive select modes. You can see there's quite a few different driving modes. So kind of an off-road mode, and as you can see, that raises the air suspension up. We have an all road, so kind of just if you're going to be on gravel and pavement. There's comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual. And individual, you can sort of adjust a few different things to your liking. So that's pretty cool. And each different screen, you have a pretty cool visual there as well, so that's nice. A couple other things in the vehicle settings. We have the seat settings, driver's assistance. So this will kind of go through all of the driver's assistance features that this car has. So that's all good to know. And there's various other things, as you can see. We have the basic system settings here. You can get your sound settings and things like that, navigation settings, just kind of all of these settings that you can go through and configure. Then we also have some various different apps like users. You could set up different users for the vehicle, like profiles and things like that. So that's pretty cool. We have a couple of air vents right below the screen and a hazards button. We also have a little bit of gloss black, a little bit of aluminum trim, and quite a bit of carbon fiber, which is pretty cool. And that takes me down to the climate control. Very simple, 3-zone automatic climate. You of course have 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger, temperatures to either side, and where you want the air to come out on sort of on these center buttons. We have AC settings, fan speed, and sort of different zone settings as well, and your defrosters over here. Small array of buttons down here too. We have the drive mode select, so that's pretty cool. On the fly, you just press that button and you could quickly change driving modes. Auto start stop on and off, traction control on and off, and you could also bring up your parking camera and sensors at any time with this button here. Also have a hill descent control and to turn the main infotainment screen off. So that's a good couple of buttons to have there. Little storage tray for change or something like that with a USB and 12-volt power outlet. As we come down here to our center stack, you can see we have more carbon fiber and a little bit of gloss black trim. Nice storage area, kind of maybe just to prop up your phone or something like that. We also have the electronic parking brake down here, so press down to deactivate, pick up to activate. And we have a nice electronic shifter here too, so we have the little unlock button at the back, go down for drive, all the way up for reverse. And at that point, you can see the very nice resolution to the cameras. We have a 360 top-down view. And there's a bunch of other views that you can get too. So we have a kind of wide-angle front and then a normal front, the larger top-down, and then that kind of brings up your parking sensors visual. A rear view camera, wide-angle rear view, and then the front and rear wheels. So lots of customability on the camera system on this car. And we also have the P for park. Can't forget the volume knob. It's all the way down here with the skipping as well. Very nice center armrest that slides back and forth. You can pick that up, you see there's a bit of room in there and a USB-C inlet. We have a little tray right here that you can put your phone in. You can also slide back and cup holders appear. Have a lockable glove box. If you open that, you can see there's some illumination and a pretty good amount of space in there. We have a frameless and auto dimming mirror. We have tap illumination, that's all LED. And then a couple of lighting controls, SOS and things like that. And then also controls for the sunshade. So you can put that back and see what it looks like. You have individual controls, so this one's for your sunshade, and then this one is for your sunroof for the tilt and sliding. As you can see, once that's open, it really airs up the cabin. It's quite a big glass roof too, so that's pretty nice. And to kind of round off the interior, a couple more things I'd like to mention are the visors. So we have the illumination and mirrors, and they also extend to cover light to the side. And also there are grab handles. So that pretty much does it for all of the features on this vehicle. Then you get a pretty good idea about everything that this SQ5 has to offer. But now let's get this car on the road. Alrighty, let's get this 2022 SQ5 out on the road. So now I have to say, this kind of class of vehicle is probably one of my favorites. Sort of the sporty mid-size SUV segment, you know. It really combines a great level of practicality with a pretty fun driving experience. And that is pretty important to me, at least. So this is a pretty great car. Now throughout this drive, we're going to take it down to this dead end and see what the turning circle is like. Then we'll get it out onto a more main road, hopefully see what it's like to drive around speeds like 45 to 50 miles an hour. Then we'll get it out onto a back road. We'll test out the acceleration, handling, and also the comfort of the suspension. Now, very good turning circle, and as you saw, it's just about one turn to lock with this dynamic steering setup. And once you get to about, you know, a quarter turn, that's when the direct steering really starts to take over. And the dynamic steering, I believe, is about $1,000 option, but it's definitely worth it. It's quite the difference from the sort of normal steering setup that the SQ5 comes with. So that's definitely an option box that I would tick if I were to get one of these. Now this car also does have the S Sport package, so adaptive air suspension that raises and lowers according to the driving mode, and also a sport rear differential, which is pretty awesome. And this still has the old school torsion beam sort of quattro all-wheel drive, so this is you know, a full-time all-wheel drive system. As you can see, when the lane assist is active, it becomes green, and you also have a distance warning as well with this car. Pretty nice, non-intrusive sort of lane keep system. If you kind of veer out of your lane, like I will in just a second, it'll kind of gently steer you back in. It won't like jerk you around or anything like that. So it's a very compliant system, I guess I could describe it as. We'll turn that off for now. We're starting off this drive in comfort mode, and we're kind of gonna switch to dynamic for our acceleration and handling. Then we'll switch back to comfort on the bumpier part of the road to see what the suspension feels like. Super smooth, that's what I have to say right now, over the just a sort of smoother main road. And not a lot of wind noise, not a lot of tire noise. It's very quiet in here. Definitely very livable and a near perfect daily driver in my opinion. At this point, we're gonna switch over to dynamic, and we'll get it up to about 25, and we'll floor it and see what happens. so this SQ5 has got a great amount of power. It's not like snap your head back in your seat power, but it's definitely a noticeable difference from the Q5. So yeah, we're working with a 3-liter turbocharged V6, like I said earlier. You know, just about 350 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque. So both very good numbers. Also very good mid-range power for this too. You know, you're starting off with a V6, so you know, a V6 versus a 4-cylinder, you're gonna have more power off the line as well. I love this dynamic steering. It's very, very direct. Not a whole lot of steering feel per se, just a very good ratio to the steering rack. I'm barely having to turn the wheel to get it around some pretty sharp corners. Now I do want to point out that even in the dynamic mode, the ride is pretty comfortable still. You can tell that it does firm up a bit, but it's still, you know, you could definitely drive it like this. And we'll keep it into dynamic on the next street that we turn on, and then we'll go switch it back into comfort because it gets pretty bumpy. That'll be a good test to see really how comfortable this suspension is. This V6 also has the very deep, sort of throaty sound to it. And you get those little burbles when you on an upshift. And it does handle the corners pretty nicely. We'll switch it back to comfort mode. Gets a little bit quieter in here. The suspension raises up just a bit, and there's some pretty nasty potholes on this road. A little bit of larger wheels on this car, but it's doing just fine, soaking up all the bumps here. Very, very good ride quality to this suspension setup. And I can't speak for the other SQ5s without the adaptive air suspension. They ride very nice as well, so they definitely do a very good job over at the engineering side of Audi with the suspension tuning on these. The seats are also very comfortable. For frame of reference, I'm about 160 pounds. And the seats are really a good size for me as far as the side support. Now, it's not adjustable, but it does come at a very good, I guess, amount of side support as it comes. And you also have thigh extensions too, which I really appreciate for longer drives. And even in comfort mode, you could still hear a little bit of the exhaust noise, which is pretty cool. Yeah, really good mid-range power from this V6. You also do have a little boost gauge right down there. It doesn't tell you exactly the PSI, but it kind of just gives you a min and max. So that's pretty cool. They included that here. And we'll come up this last section of our test drive here. We'll get a little bit of the beans just for the heck of it. and even in comfort mode it gets going pretty good. All right, so that just about does it for the 2022 Audi SQ5. Let me hear your thoughts on this car. I know what my thoughts are, and I really do like this car. I think it's probably one of the best daily drivers or kind of all-rounders on sale, especially in this segment. Pretty decent pricing still, as cars right around $69,000 to $70,000, so it's decent, and you get quite a bit of features for the money. You know, cooled seats would be something that I'd like to see in this particular car, but it is an optional feature for this, so you can get a sort of comfort style seat with the heating and cooling, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it with the SQ5. So make sure to stay with us here at Tide Drives for future videos just like this one. Thanks for watching.